Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And you know what? We know you're not old enough to be playing that video game. The ESRB wants to implement facial recognition for age verification tool. But you know what? The FTC over here in the US said no, that's not happening. So about a year ago, the ESRB basically said they wanted to start using facial recognition to verify a user's age. Because, they're the ones that say recommended age of a game, right? So they submitted an application to the FTC. And so here recently, April of this year, 2024, the FTC said that that's not going to happen, which is a good thing, I feel. So the FTC basically posted published it last Friday that they were denying the company's application in a 4-0 vote, by the way. It wasn't like a split or whatever. They said they received over 350 comments on the issue before the vote. Those who opposed the application cited privacy, protections, accuracy, deepfake concerns. In contrast to those who supported the application, felt it had sufficient privacy guardrails in place. IGN noted in their article that they reached out to the ESRB, but they didn't say anything about their loss of this functionality. Had the application been approved, the FRC would have added the facial age detection tech to the list of acceptable forms of receiving parental consent for collecting information from minor-aged users under the COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Yeah. For those, they basically are the group that are out there to protect the privacy of children. That's what their job is. So ESRB had partnered with digital identity firm Yoti and Super Awesome to create this technology to verify users' ages. The ESRB claimed it was not meant to identify individuals outright, but rather estimate the user's age, and stated it would not store the data after analysis concluded. This application submitted last year revealed the steps for verification included the user taking a picture of themselves and the system checking to see if it's a human face in the frame and uploading it to Yoti's backend server for age estimation. A concept similar to one Roblox added last year, where users must upload a selfie and a government-issued ID like a driver's license or passport to verify their age to view mature content. While the FTC rejected the proposal, U.S. regulators said it could refile the application in the future. So we'll kind of go around and back and forth between Nick and I to see how they feel about that. I really want to, before I dive into how I kind of feel about it, Nick, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about them getting it knocked down? Do you think that it was a good idea, for the SRB to put this in place? And remember, the SRB is a self-governing body that was created by the gaming industry to keep the government from basically regulating it for them. So, Nick, how do you feel about this ESRB application and then the FTC rejecting it?
I think it was a good thing that the FTC rejected this. I think this has too many flaws and too many issues, especially for privacy concerns. Especially, it tries to verify the age of the individual. There's too many deep fakes, which I think the FTC had talked about. Deep fakes and it wouldn't be difficult to get someone else who looks older to be able to take the CAPTCHA. And especially it tries to verify the age based on how people look. But I mean, there's some people out there that don't look, that are 20 in their 20s, but they look like they're 10 years old, right? Or 13 or something like that, right? We know some girls that are like that, they're in their 20s, they're like 25 or something like that, but they look like they could be 16 years old, right? So, how would the system know, right? I mean, it would try to do its best, but, again, you would hate to, like, for us, it'd probably be fine, but for other people, it may run into an issue where the person is old enough and it blocks them for those reasons, or, and I don't like the fact that it would save the picture of these individuals in their software, and what other information would be collected or could possibly be collected from that in that database. You have that, plus you have, people hacking this database. Again, what other information besides the pictures could it glean from this, where the person lives, um, you know, their address, various things like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just the potential for, I feel like the potential for bad things to happen is just too wide for something like this, right? Um, you've got to leave it up to, I understand they're wanting to, but you got to leave it up to the consumer, right? That's the whole reason why we have a rating system. I mean, it's the same thing for movies, right? Movies have a rating system. It's not the ESRB that does movies, but a similar, what is it? I don't remember what it is. The Film Association or whatever.
MPAA.
Yeah. So, they give a rating system to films, and it's the same thing for, younger. I mean, you have to go to the theater, of course, so they do age verification there, but it's also up to the parents and the consumer who's purchasing said product to be able to verify whether or not this individual, regardless of age, can watch a rated R movie or can play an M-rated game, right? And so it should be up to the kids, um, parent or guardian, right, to determine. And I know that may not be the case in all cases, but uh, you've got to leave it up to, I think, to the consumer, and in that aspect. You have the rating on there. If you go out there and buy Grand Theft Auto for your 10-year-old and let him play it, that's on you, right? I mean, there's no reason for the ESRB to go in and make sure you're of age. I mean, because your parent, your guardian, or whatever decided that you were cool. They were cool with you playing it, right? The rating system's on there. It says on the back what it's rated and what it has in it. Violence, drugs, sex, whatever is in there. Bad language, whatever. They could play the game for themselves if they wanted to test it out and see what it is, or look up videos online. There's tons of different ways for parents or guardians to be able to figure out if something is good or bad for their kid, or the person they're taking care of, that who may be of a younger age. So I think it's up to the consumer in that aspect, the parent or the guardian, to make that determination on whether or not, right? I don't think we need all these extra hurdles or security things in place for stuff like that. Facial recognition and whatever else, right? The rating system, I think, works just fine. And again, it's up to the consumer at that point to determine that. So I'm glad the FTC said no on this one. I think that's a bad idea. I think they should just not go that route. It feels like a can of worms that they could have opened up and potentially caused a lot more issues than a lot more bad than good. I feel like coming from that, I get that vibe, right? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The ESRB is a rating system designed for parents to know what they're buying for their children. Essentially, that's what it is. I mean, they rate a video game and said, this is the age range that we feel the game's appropriate for. And the parents should be making that decision, right? And for the most part, if you go into like a GameStop, your 10-year-old's not going to be able to go buy a mature rated game. You just can't. A parent has to go in and buy it for them if they're buying a physical copy. If they're buying digital copies, most profiles on, like, I have a child profile on the Xbox for my kid and I set their age. So they're not allowed to purchase games. They're not, I mean, technically my kid can't purchase any games without asking me first, and then ask me. It sends a notification to my phone, says, hey, your kid wants to purchase this game. Do you approve it? Because I pay for it. And yes or no. So I should be able to look at it then there. But at the same time, they can't even search for games that are outside of their age range. So they don't even see the dang thing to begin with. So, if you're giving your kid unrestricted access to a console, is sitting as the main user of the console without any age restrictions, then that's your prerogative, your decision to make. It's your child. But you have to suffer the consequences if they get a hold of something that you didn't want them to. And so I'm in that boat with Nick. The parents bought it. My other question is, how did they expect this to work? Like, who's going to take a picture of a kid and send it to you? And how are you going to link it to their console, the game they purchased? Do I need to take a picture of me holding the cartridge with the code, And you go, oh, okay, when you put that in there, license code matches up. That's how you do it. Is that what you're doing? Because in that, I would say that's invasion of privacy. Now you know where my console's registered, my PC, whatever info you need, even though it says it deletes the image after there, what other data is collected? because you don't have a camera on like your Xbox, your PlayStation. Xbox used to with their whole thing. I think you can get cameras for them now, but most people don't have a webcam hooked up to their console. They're not taking a picture of themselves with their Xbox. They're no longer holding up the Xbox freaking camera thing, and trying to take a picture of themselves. So somebody has to take a picture of them with the phone and upload it. Now, if they're 10 years old, they probably don't have a damn phone. So, you're already kind of defeating your purpose a little bit. And you know, if a kid's wanting to do something and they're trying to be that sneaky, you know what I would do? My parent falls asleep on the couch. I'm going to set the thing next to him, like, and send it to you. You're going to tell me that, or like Nick said, I went to middle school with tons of people who looked like they were adults. I remember being 10 years old, having a friend that had a full mustache, and I'm like, you're going to tell me when he sends his picture in, you're going to tell him that he's 10? No, you're probably going to say he's like 18 or 19 because he looked like he was a working age kid, at young age. He just, puberty hit him hard and young. And I had friends like that. I had friends by the time we were 15 that had full facial hair. And I'm like, what the heck, So I don't know, man. I think this is a huge invasion of privacy for anybody because I don't want to have to take a picture of myself and send it to you to play my damn game. I mean, to me, that's like extra steps that I shouldn't have to take. I already bought the game, which should tell you that if I went in the store, I was already checked. If I'm buying it on my console, I was already set on the console as my age or whatever. And a lot of games, I mean, people lie, right? Kids lie all the time. I remember being a kid and it would say, you must be 18 years old to access this site. How old are you? What year were you born? I'm like, man, okay, I'm this age. I was born in this year. Kids aren't stupid. They're going to find ways around it. And it never does anything to perturb the thing. Because if they already have unrestricted access to the console, what are you going to do? And I think sending pictures of somebody just wanting to play a damn game to a website to verify your age is just demeaning and stupid. Like, the MPAA doesn't even do that. I mean, the worst thing, the MPAA is a little worse because if you go into a movie theaters, your parents can buy you a ticket to a rated R movie, but a lot of movie theaters have a policy that if you're under a certain age that the parent has to accompany you. But like, I think it's like 13 and up or 14, your parent just buys a ticket and you go in, right? But that's on the parent. The parent bought it. So I think that this is a stupid move by the ESRB. And I'm glad that it got shot down. Hopefully they don't refile for it. I mean, they've already spent a year's worth of money developing these technologies, so they might refile for it. But who's going to have to send in age verification? Is it everybody? Because you can't just say some people. I mean, everybody. It's either everybody or nobody, right? Because you can't determine their age by anything anymore. You can't say, well, they're on the PC. They could be young. They're on the Xbox. They could be young. Parents are just giving them unrestricted access to all their consoles. They could be young. And how often am I going to have to do this? Like, they have to track some information, right? As you said, Nick, they may not keep the picture, but they may say, little Billy is 12 years old. He sent us a picture. We think Billy's 12. He's actually 13, but we think he's 12. He sent us a picture. We're going to catalog his whatever, console name, whatever, screen login with his age. And say cannot play games this, and then what's the appeal time frame look like, right? If I'm wanting to play a game today and I submit my picture, how long does it take to get verified? And if it verifies and says that I'm not old enough, how long does it take me to appeal that? I'm trying to play a game I just bought and I'm super excited for, but it said I was 12 years old. And be like, or it said, hey, you sent in a fake picture, you can't play this, and I'm like, that's my face, So
what I'm wondering too is like, not in not every instance does if someone has one console, they may only have one profile on there, right? And so if does it, I don't know, is it attached to the profile? That the face, that information attached to the profile, and then you would have to make a separate profile. And what games would have this? Would it be games that wanted to opt in for this type of thing, or would it be all M-rated games? And then, yeah, you're exactly right. Would I have to do this for every M-rated game that I've purchased? Because that's a lot of games. Because most of the games we purchase are M-rated, right? because it can, not every of them, but a large majority of them. So it's like,
Or teen.
yeah, or T. I mean, will I have to send my picture in every single time? I mean, but then they would have to save, they would be like, well, we need to save time for this, because then you would get all these applications hitting the server, and the server gets bogged down by so many people sending in. So we have to save time, which means we need to start saving this information and captioning it, so that way when the user sends in this information again, we already have a uh, profile on our end set up for this particular user, right? Um, and it's based on gamer tag. If it's based on gamer tag, what if you change your gamer tag? Then is it a whole different? I mean, there's just too many. There's too many complicated. If you sell your console, right? Or I mean, you would hopefully you would reformat it and have a new profile. I don't know. People sell their profiles online. Crap like that happens all the time. Like, what happens in that case? Like, there's too many variables, I think, with something like this, um, that are just not good. I feel like.
Right. And I don't want to be inconvenienced. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to be inconvenienced as me. I don't want to be inconvenienced by this. I would rather just police my kids the way that I feel they need to be. And I feel you police the kids you need to be. And every other parent out there, you police your kids the way you feel like you need to be. It's not against the law for you to buy them Grand Theft Auto 5. You may get funny looks from other parents or whatever. Because I wouldn't buy my 10-year-old Grand Theft Auto 5 when she was 10, But to each their own, and your kid better than others. But I don't want to be inconvenienced because some kid might be out there buying Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever other M-rated game out there, whatever they might be getting themselves a hold of. Because now everybody has to. Like, I tried to read through this proposal, and it's like 38 pages long that they proposed to them, and I'm like, so who has to do this? And I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find a whole lot of it. They go over a lot of the technology in here and all this stuff, but I'm like, at the same time, I don't know. It's just too easily circumvented, in my opinion, because how hard is it for me to go out on some internet page and download a picture of somebody? I mean, like I'm sure there are going to be some checks and balances in that, but heck, you can go to Facebook and pull one of your friend's parents or something and send their face in, or your own parent off Facebook. I mean, there's too many ways around this, and too many ways for abuse of this. And I mean, more, not really. There is ability for abuse, but there's more of it's an inconvenience to me too. I don't want to be inconvenienced with this if I have to upload a picture of my face with something that ties me to whatever system I'm trying to play this game on. And do I have to do it every time I want to play a different game, or do I have to do it for every gaming device that I own? I don't want to do it for any one of those circumstances. So, and I don't think parents are going to want to. Like, Nick you have two young kids, and how often would they be asking you to, hey, Dad, I need to send a face up there. I need to send a picture up there. Can you send this up there? I mean, I want to play this game. And, and it may not be something bad. It just may be something that's like rated teen, but it's not that bad. And you're like, my 10-year-old can play that. I don't care about that. They just rated teen because of whatever. Or, rated 14 and they're 13. And you're like, give a shit. That's not something to be worried about. You're like, I looked at that and I don't care what that is, as a parent. But then you're like, they want to play it and you got to hit the button, because I don't know how often you use the Xbox parental or whatever. Sometimes they would get a game and it would say, hey, this game's not, they're not rated old enough for this game. Do you approve them to play it? And I would just get constantly bombarded as she's trying to find something to play. And I'm like, I don't care. Yes, because kids will play like 10 games in an hour. And you're like, I don't want to sit there and have to be like, okay, upload this picture, and upload this picture, So this is a stupid idea, and I hope it dies on the vine. So
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Do you got anything else you want to chat about the ESRB and their stupid fumbling facial recognition software?
No. I mean, what we have today is fine. Let's just keep what we got.
Let the parents make the decision. If the kids get a hold of something they shouldn't have, then you need to look at the sources of that information and not trying to police everybody, You kind of everybody's got a black eye because one person did something wrong. All right. Well, you've reached the end of another episode. If you're not subscribed, Come on, subscribe, help us out. We like rambling and talking about useless topics of video games. Obviously, you don't mind listening to it. Even if you just want to argue with us, we like that too. Come on, bring it on. We don't mind. We don't mind a challenge. We don't mind. So, subscribe, make some comments. Tell us how you really feel. Hate us, like us, whatever. No skin off our backs. So, and then we hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope to catch you in the next one.